We knew the renewal had happened because they briefed it to People magazine in America. Initially, there was this view, certainly taken by the Beckhams, that hang on, they're being quite classy here. They're not going to release any pictures. They're not going to actually like rub anyone's noses in it. They've released their wedding vows, and that's it.
The photos of the vow renewal land.
We just see this like barrage of photos on their Instagrams.
But I mean, the Beckhams aren't there.
It was like, whoa, nobody expected this. In fact, the Beckhams described it themselves as an onslaught.
Because Brooklyn has basically just, in so many words, said, "You are no longer a part of my marriage or my life."
He was her protector, her second dad, and then he vanished without a goodbye. This is the inside story of how Harper Beckham went from adored little sister to a pawn in one of Britain's most painful family feuds. If your sibling publicly turned their back on your family, could you ever forgive them? What if they used your birthday to fix their reputation? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This one hits deep. At first, it looked classy. Brooklyn and Nicola quietly renewed their vows in America. No big announcements, no attention seeking. Even the Beckhams admitted they were surprised and maybe a little relieved, but that piece didn't last. Days later, a tidal wave of photos dropped online. Dozens of glossy, intimate shots, and not one Beckham in sight. No David, no Victoria, and no Harper. The absence was louder than any caption. It was a message to the world. This is our new life, and you're not in it. David and Victoria could brace themselves, but Harper, she's just a teenager. She once called Brooklyn her best friend. He used to hold her hand on red carpets, sneak her treats, play the role of protector while their parents worked. Now she watched from her phone as he erased their family from one of the biggest moments of his life. That vow renewal wasn't just romantic, it was symbolic. Brooklyn didn't just cut out his parents. He erased the little sister who once saw him as his world. This wasn't a photo dump. It was a declaration of war, and Harper felt it first.
So July comes around and the third sibling takes center stage, that being Harper 7. It was her 14th birthday coming up, and if Brooklyn was going to ignore that, that would be the final straw, particularly for Romeo and Cruz, who are incredibly protective over her. So the big day rolls around and Brooklyn does indeed wish her a happy birthday, but it's incredibly pointed and obviously very crafted. So what you have here is a simple picture of Brooklyn, Harper, and he's made sure to get Nicola in the picture as well, so that there's no question towards his alliances in this whole scenario. And it's actually a picture taken from the last known picture actually of Brooklyn and his younger sister, who he was incredibly close with, at Victoria Beckham's fashion show in September.
Harper's 14th birthday was more than just a party. It was the emotional tipping point. Her parents were terrified Brooklyn would ignore it completely. For Harper, it would have been a second heartbreak, one too public to hide, and Brooklyn knew it. So he posted a single image, him, Harper, and Nicola. Not a new photo, but a recycled moment from Victoria's fashion show the year before. Carefully staged, carefully cropped, Nicola included, of course, to show where his loyalty lay. It looked like a loving gesture, but to anyone paying attention, it was a performance. Harper didn't post back. She didn't reply. And behind the scenes, her brothers Cruz and Romeo were livid. To them, this wasn't love. It was PR strategy. The Beckhams felt it too. The warmth was gone. What should have been a sweet moment became just another chess move in Brooklyn and Nicola's growing PR campaign. And Harper, she knew. She's old enough now. She knew it wasn't real. When your big brother can't even text you something personal, just edits and filters, you don't need to be a publicist to see the truth. That birthday post wasn't a gift. It was a goodbye in disguise.
Also, another outcome of the Harper birthday post is that Cruz and Romeo, Nicola and Brooklyn completely severed ties on social media, which for Gen Z can be a battlefield and it can say a million words. Cruz and Romeo say that Nicola and Brooklyn unfollow them on social media, but what Team Brooklyn is saying is that Cruz and Romeo actually blocked them. Whatever happened, neither of them are seeing each other's social media content, which might be for the best because they do keep hitting out at each other on Instagram.
What happened next made the feud official. Romeo and Cruz completely severed digital ties with Brooklyn and Nicola. For Gen Z, that's not just petty, it's personal. Unfollowing someone in their world is the same as slamming a door, and they slammed it for Harper, because her birthday wasn't just overlooked, it was used. Cruz and Romeo were always close to her. They watched her grow up. And when they saw their baby sister being reduced to a PR tactic, that was the final straw. Cruz even clapped back at critics on Instagram, not to defend himself, but to deflect shots aimed at Brooklyn. Then came the full social media wipeout. Some say Brooklyn and Nicola unfollowed first. Others say Cruz and Romeo blocked them, but the result was the same. Harper's defenders drew the line, and there was no turning back. This wasn't just a digital breakup, it was a real fracture. Harper's brothers fighting to protect what Brooklyn once promised never to hurt. When the youngest sibling gets caught in the crossfire, the family stops playing nice.
And this isn't the Brooklyn they know. The Brooklyn they know is the Brooklyn that adored his grandmothers and who loved his little sister, who loved his little brothers, who loved his mum and dad, and loved being part of this big family. He loved his cousins, he loved his auntie, he loved his aunties, he loved his... And so, and all of a sudden, that he doesn't anymore. That's what they just cannot get their head around. And the only answer they can come to is that it's Nicola.
Brooklyn's entire world has been rewritten, and in this new version, Harper doesn't exist. He doesn't speak to his grandparents, the women who helped raise him when Victoria was on tour and David was traveling for football. He stopped talking to childhood friends like Jack Ramsey and Rocco Ritchie, no cousins, no aunties, no siblings except Nicola's. The life he built over 2 decades, scrubbed. In its place, a carefully managed bubble of stylists, influencers, handlers, and Nicola's family. That might not matter to Brooklyn. But to Harper, it's devastating. He was the big brother who tucked her in, the one who carried her when she cried, the one who promised when she was born that he'd always protect her. Now, he's nowhere to be found, except in old pictures and hollow captions. And for a 14-year-old, there's nothing more painful than watching someone who used to love you pretend you don't exist. Harper didn't lose Brooklyn to distance. She lost him to re-invention.
It's very much a full circle moment going back to the start of the feud, which began back in 2022 with Brooklyn and Nicola's initial wedding at her dad's Palm Springs mansion.
There was a huge fallout at the wedding in 2022 about what dress Nicola was going to wear. And she ended up wearing Valentino. And, did that put Victoria's nose out of joint? Victoria says she didn't have time to make it, but it was the centre of one of the parts of this feud. And so it was just like, oh, here I am in this dress. And it was, again, so there to rub Victoria's nose in it. I think at the centre of this feud, the real hatred is between Nicola and Victoria. I think that's where the real nub of it is. And so Nicola is just pushing all the buttons.
Victoria is a fashion designer. She is shunning her mother-in-law's dress. She's basically saying, I don't want to wear what you have made. And then since then, we've seen this sort of overall arc of the feud, and it's just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And you can say what happened a couple of weeks ago in August when they renewed the vows is sort of that final nail in the coffin.
In the beginning, Brooklyn and Nicola's wedding was supposed to unite families, but what began with a dress dispute spiraled into a full-blown war. Nicola refused to wear Victoria's design. Rumors flew, feelings hardened, and Harper watched it all unfold. The growing coldness, the fading smiles, the public statements disguised as silence. She once adored Nicola, called her a big sister, took pictures with her, laughed beside her. But now, Nicola's presence only reminds Harper of everything she's lost. Brooklyn used to laugh with her. Now he uses her image when it suits him. The vow renewal, officiated by Nicola's billionaire father, was the final blow. Harper's name wasn't mentioned, her face wasn't seen, she wasn't even a memory. That's not just hurtful, it's erasure. And the Beckhams? They call Brooklyn the hostage, convinced he's been brainwashed, manipulated. But Harper doesn't need theories, she just wants her brother back, the one who made her feel safe, who made her feel like she belonged. But now, even that version of him feels like a stranger. She didn't lose her brother all at once. She lost him in pieces, and she's still counting. Harper never asked for this. She didn't pick sides. She didn't throw shade online. She just kept hoping. And in the middle of one of the most visible family feuds of the decade, a little sister was left wondering why her hero stopped coming home. This isn't about celebrity drama. It's about loyalty, silence, and the one relationship Brooklyn Beckham may never be able to repair. This video is based on publicly available sources, not professional advice.